Does this situation sound familiar? You're writing music and an idea hits you that is pure electricity. It lights up your entire body, your skin's tingling, hair stands on end. It's just great. And a thought comes to you. Is this actually good? I've had this experience thousands of times in the almost 21 years I've been playing guitar. And if you work on music or art or anything creative like that, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is such a common scenario among creatives of any kind, but why is that? What is it within us that causes this self-destructive cycle to come about so often? I've struggled with this for a long time and still have to deal with it. So I wanted to share what I think causes this within my own creativity and some mindsets and frameworks I've used to help me overcome it. In my experience, the core of this problem has always been a set of beliefs I hold about creativity and my own art that I like to call a scarcity mindset. So in this context, a scarcity mindset would be the perspective or the belief that artistic ideas and creative impulses are scarce and hard to find. So how would that type of mindset lead to the creative train wreck that I described in the beginning of this video? Well, in any context, a scarcity mindset is going to distort our ability to make accurate value judgments of whatever that context is. So think about things that are actually scarce, like time, land. These things are generally highly valuable because of their scarcity. However, we can inflate the perceived value of just about anything by making it seem like it's scarce. This is a very common sales tactic for anyone selling anything, really, especially e-commerce. So to apply this to creativity and art, if we believe that ideas by their very nature are scarce, we are going to inflate their value within our mind. But why is that a problem? How is that linked to the train wreck situation? Well, to put it simply, when we overvalue things, we overthink them. We tend to deliberate heavily and second guess ourselves over decisions where there's a great deal of value at stake. Think about like buying a home, right? You want to make sure that house is in the right location, the price is right, it has features and amenities you can grow into over time. There's a lot of value at stake, so you put a lot of mental energy and thought into that decision. Musical ideas are much simpler than something like a home purchase. It comes down to really one question. Does this sound good or not? But when we think that ideas are scarce and we inflate their value, we put that level of mental energy towards them that is not really in line with their true value. So we end up overthinking something that really only needed a very simple question. Does this sound good? And in the train wreck situation, we had really already answered that situation because we were excited by that idea when it first arrived. The process went on too long because we inflated the value of that idea over its true value. Now, of course, we need to evaluate our work and be self-critical to a point. But for that evaluation process to be effective and accurate, we have to remind ourselves of a very simple truth. Ideas are cheap. This is something that most people don't want to hear, especially creatives. But ideas are cheap. Like really dirt cheap. That doesn't mean they have no value, but they're cheap. And that's good. Anything that is cheap requires minimal energy and time to produce or acquire. And ideas fit both of those criteria. Even musical ideas. They require almost no energy at all to produce or acquire, and they are abundant by their nature. A scarcity mindset stands in direct opposition to this perspective. It inflates the value of any individual idea because it thinks that it is scarce. But if ideas are cheap, why do so many creatives think that they aren't? Well, the same reason anyone would believe it. The alternative requires a lot more work and sacrifice. What is truly valuable is action, being the combination of time and energy moving through the conduit of your body. But taking action on our ideas is much harder than just having them. Believing that ideas alone have value can be a comforting lie. It frees us from the burden of choice. Every time that we decide to take action on an idea, we are also choosing to not do an almost infinite number of other things. It upholds a certain bias we might have that we are special and that somehow our ideas are special and that no one else could have them. So what changes when we embody this perspective that ideas are cheap and infinitely abundant? Well, first of all, we generate many more ideas because we believe that such a thing is possible. We also avoid the creative train wreck from the beginning of the video because if an idea sucks, it just doesn't matter. Like, you're gonna have a million more ideas at any time that you're willing to open up to them. It doesn't matter if it's a bad idea. It's just another idea. A bad idea doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the actions you take around them. So if the action you take around the bad idea is the train wreck situation, well, that's not a great outcome. But if the action you take is accepting that that idea is just a cheap idea and you keep going and doing what you were doing, that's a much better outcome. But I think most importantly, when we embody this ideas are cheap mindset, we open ourselves up to much more authentic inspiration and artistry because we stop clinging to each idea we have as if it's the last one we will ever receive, like a life raft in the middle of the ocean. To receive something, you first have to let go of whatever you are holding. It's much easier to let go of things that we don't view as scarce because, well, they're not scarce. We can just find them wherever. It'd be like going into my yard and believing that blades of grass are scarce. Like, there's a billion of them on just my street. Like, they're all over the place. Ideas can be the same way, but we have to view them that way first. So this is all great, but how do we make that shift? What needs to happen to actually make this transition effective? We have to trust ourselves and trust our taste and eliminate a bias we might have against it. Even if we accept that ideas are cheap and abundant, we still can't accurately evaluate them if we aren't trusting our own taste. For a lot of creators, that bias is an extension of the self-critical evaluation process. We feel like our ideas could never really be in the same class of things as the ideas and the compositions and the output of the greats and the legends, right? We feel like something within us is just categorically different. But that bias is nowhere to be found when I'm consuming art made by other people. If I like a song within, 20, 30 seconds, I just like it. I just accept what my taste is telling me and I don't doubt it or feel like there's something wrong with it. But when it comes to evaluating my own ideas, for some reason, it's a different set of rules. There's some thought that I need to double check my own taste and double check the actual just gut reactions of my body feeling what I'm feeling. In my experience, the only thing that ever comes out of this process of doubting my own taste is just wasting time. I can't really think of a single time when, like in the beginning of the video, an idea hits me and I'm so ecstatic about it and I'm developing it. And then that bias kicks in and, oh, is this even good? And whatever. I've never actually changed anything because of that. I just stopped working on the thing and then came back to it later once that noise had kind of died down and picked up right where I left off. It's not like that bias helped me make a better songwriting decision or really do anything at all. It just convinced me to put the guitar down. For me, the only thing that ever helped me get past that internal bias was to take the idea that I'm not special, my ideas are not special, and extend it, externalize it. If I'm not special, then why is anyone special? We're all just human beings following the directionality of our own taste, looking for whatever that thing is that brings life into our existence. So when I embody that perspective and stop thinking that everybody else is somehow different than me in this regard, everything just gets so much easier. It's more fun. It feels lightweight because my taste is the only thing I need to consult. I don't have to do this intellectual exercise and overthink everything because I've accepted that ideas are cheap and abundant. And if my taste is approving of them, then that's all I need to know. From this viewpoint, any idea, mine or someone else's, is more or less the same thing, and I can judge them on the level playing field of my taste. But I don't think this is the whole story. I think ultimately, this internal bias comes down to a fear of showing who we really are through our creativity. It's safer to compromise on individuality and do things that the opinions of others have already authorized, right? That path can lead us to devalue our own taste in favor of molding our efforts after something that the crowd has approved. Now, ideas are cheap, but your taste is not cheap. It's priceless. It is a one-of-one unique artifact. There is never anyone else who is ever going to exist or has existed before who has your unique taste, built from your own experiences of consuming art, living in the world, your life experiences. It's one of one. There will never ever be another one like it. It's yours. So ultimately, to be a more prolific creator, you have to get over the fear of making things you like just because you like it, because it satisfies the directionality and the pull of your own taste. Your taste and your perspective is the most valuable thing you have as a creator. Like I said, it's one of one. It's what makes your art and your creativity uniquely yours. And when we stop living in scarcity, stop overvaluing ideas, and stop distrusting our own taste, we open ourselves up to become much more prolific, creatively and in every other arena of life. So I hope this is helpful to someone out there watching. This is a problem that I've dealt with, like I said, for almost 21 years playing guitar. And it's not like it's a one and done solution, right? It's not like I never have that train wreck situation anymore because I've somehow passed this barrier that I can't go back from. It's an ongoing, continuous process that you get better at over time, and you start to identify those trends of distrust in your own taste and when you're operating from a scarcity mindset and clinging to ideas, clinging to life out of them. So hopefully from watching this video, you'll understand what I'm talking about, connect that experience, and be able to take those mindsets and tools into your own practice and your own creativity and enjoy it more and become more prolific as a result. So that's all I've got for today. I really hope you got some value out of this, and thank you for watching. Gibby, you gotta get out of here right now. You can't be in here right now. Gibby, come here.